Welcome to the JA It's My Future curriculum training. My name is Risa, and on behalf of Junior Achievement, thank you for taking the time to inspire students. Today we are going to take a look at the JA It's My Future curriculum. You will notice that there are two guides in your curriculum kit. One is for you as the volunteer, and this one is for you to use, so you can highlight it, underline, write in it, etc. It's yours to keep. The other one is for you to give to your classroom teacher. What you'll notice is that the beginning pages are greetings from JAUSA. You'll find a master list of materials that will help you split out the materials found in your kit, and then you will see each session broken down. What you'll notice within each session is that there is an overview and an objective, which is the quick overview of what the students are supposed to be gaining from their time in the classroom with you. There's a preparation section, things to consider before going into the class. There's a recommended time of 45 minutes for this curriculum. If you happen to have more or less time, feel free to adapt as necessary as long as you're touching the overall objectives. There's a materials section that's specific to each session, and then it goes into the presentation. It always opens with an introduction, jumps into the activity, and then closes with a summary and review. Let's jump into activity 1. The materials that you are going to need for this session are the table tents, and we would encourage you to have the students write their names large and dark on both sides of the tent so that if you're walking around the classroom, you can see it from either side. You need the brand flashcards, the brand interview pamphlets, as well as the bendable sticks. One thing to note is that all of the materials have a footer at the bottom of the materials which will tell you what the product is titled as well as what session it is used for. That can be very helpful in trying to determine what materials go with what session. The activity today is called My Brand, and it's really striving to get the students to consider how their personal brand will affect their future career opportunities and will affect them in their future. So what you'll notice is that within the introduction, you want to be sure to greet the students. Since this will be your first time with these students, please take a few minutes to introduce yourself, share who you are, where you've come from, where you've gotten, share any connections that you might have to middle school, and just start building that rapport with the students. Then you'll notice that it takes you into a conversation about asking the students if they've ever gone on any trips. And if so, to talk a little bit about the roads that get us to where we want to go, and what if we take the wrong turn. And what we want to talk about is connecting that to our future paths. Our journeys into our future may take some random twists and turns, but we are on an ultimate destination, an ultimate journey to get where we would like to be. And it's the choices that we are making even now as middle school students that are going to affect and that are going to shape the route of where we're going. Ask the students where they plan to be after high school to just kind of get a feel for what they're thinking at this point. You know, do they want to go to a post-secondary college? Do they want to jump into the workforce? What are some of their initial ideas? Then you'll notice it takes you into a conversation about brand. And this is where you're going to take your brand cards. One of the cards actually has the definition of brand. So you want to hold this up, ask them to give you the definition of brand, see if they can. The definition is on the back. And then what you can do is just simply start showing some of these brand cards to see if they can tell you which company or product it represents. Most of them they're going to be able to do, but what you want to do is take it one step further and ask them, what are some of the words that come to mind when they think about that specific brand or when they think about that specific product? What are positive words that jump out, negative words? And then also talk about what has shaped that perception and what has that company done to build that brand. Then what you want to do next is to talk to the students about how not only do companies create a brand, but we also create an individual brand. When people think of you, what are some of those first initial thoughts that they think of? What would a teacher think? What would a parent or a friend's parent or somebody that you babysit for, that type of thing? What would some of those people, when they think of your name, what are those words that come to mind? And that's what we want to challenge the students to think about. We want them to think about how the choices they're making today are going to link to building a brand that's going to affect their future. What we're going to do is talk a little bit about celebrity brands, and that's going to help connect from company down to the individual. So you can talk a little bit about some of the celebrities that they might be familiar with, and what are some of those key words that pop into their head. And that's going to help provide a link to the actual activity where the students have the opportunity to create their own personal brand. This is a two-step activity, and the first step is to have each student partner up with someone and give each student one of these brand interview pamphlets. What they're going to do is they are going to interview their partner. So there are 4 simple questions found on the front page of the pamphlet that they are going to ask their partner. They are going to record those answers, and then at the end they are going to switch pages so that they ultimately have the information that reflects their personal choices. This is supposed to kind of model the idea of an interview, and so that will get them started in the beginning. So they can get their juices flowing, thinking a little bit about their personal brand, and what they are going to then do is to consider symbols that might represent them. So as we noted, you know, that there are different symbols. Sometimes it's a symbol like the swoosh, sometimes it's the Coca-Cola fancy lettering, sometimes it's the MTV initials. There's lots of different ways people represent themselves, and the students are going to have the opportunity to create a personal brand by using the bendable sticks. What you'll notice is that there should be 1 extra set of bendable sticks, and we would encourage you as the volunteer to create a personal logo brand that you can show as an example. You'll also find some brands on the middle of the page that will also give you some ideas of how to encourage the students to get started. But what they're going to do is they are going to create a personal logo that might represent themselves. You'll notice that there are some great bullet points within the activity guide that will help prompt the students on what to think about, and again, you can use those brand cards to give them some ideas of things such as fancy lettering, initials, etc. What you'll notice is that on the back of the pamphlet there's an area that they can sketch a design first. So you want to give them a few minutes to first sketch a design, try to get some ideas put down on paper, and then after a few minutes you want to allow them to get the bendable sticks. If you hand out the bendable sticks first, they won't take the time to jot down an idea. So if you have a few minutes, give them a little bit of time to brainstorm on paper, and then they can use the sticks to create their design. One thing to note is that for simplicity and safety of this activity, we would encourage you not to allow the students to use scissors, and instead to simply do whatever they can by bending the sticks and not using scissors. You want to make sure that you take a little bit of time at the end to allow students who would like to share their brand to share them, and to talk a little bit about why they chose the design that they chose. That does take a little bit of time, so make sure that you save time for them to be able to do that. And again, be sure to save enough time at the end to do a quick summary and review. We want to make sure that we're emphasizing to the students the importance that their choices today are going to link to their futures. We want to challenge their thinking. Even in middle school today, they are starting to jump on social media. And so we want them to think about that even as a middle school student, their postings that they're putting out on social media can affect their futures. And so we really want to challenge them by thinking about, before they post something, they want to think about, is this something that they would want to potentially explain to a future employer? Is this something that they would want their parents to see, a friend's parent to see? Would they want a teacher to see what was posted? And to really talk about how once that's posted, we can't get it back. And so all of these small details that seem very minor, especially in middle school, can greatly affect their futures. And we want to make sure that we're making positive choices today that's going to lead to a strong future. Enjoy session 1.